Welcome back, people. This is Jonathan Lacey with another episode of the Laced Up Podcast. Today, I'm joined once again with Mr. Zach Spiegel. So, hey, welcome back to the show, man.
Thanks, dude. I am excited to be back and excited to be talking about a sport that I just started following and just started following.
So, Zach, for the people that don't know, we're going to, give you a recap of this past Saturday with the UFC fights. You had Francis Ngannou being crowned the new heavyweight champion, which is
Mhm.
that was that's awesome
Yes,
to
sir.
even just think about now. But we're going to dive deeper into that later, and we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA trades and the trade deadline signings, and this is it's a lot to go talk about right now. So first of all, let's let's start off with the first main card fight with Jamie Malarkey taking on Kama Worthy. We watched that, and we were like, man, dude, like he got his hands down. He's looking like that. He like throughout that fight. What like how what was your take? What was your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because looking back on it, I think Worthy was the favorite, and
Yeah.
I think he was one of the bigger favorites of the main card.
Hmm.
Might have been the longest odds. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it, but I know Kama was the favorite, and I think he could tell he knew that. I think he knew he was the
Hmm.
favorite. I think he had his arms down for a lot of the first round, a lot of the second round, really. And it wasn't until he started, taking licks that he even started bringing his hands up to any kind of guarding position. And I think, there's something to be said for confidence and the intimidation factor. But at a certain point, Malarkey kind of had, I don't remember. I don't remember a significant part of the fight where I was like, Worthy might have this. It was
No.
kind of Malarkey's fight from the beginning. He
Yes.
seemed to control the tempo. He controlled the pace. And Worthy, I mean, he looked the part, but I mean that felt like Malarkey's fight.
Absolutely. And kind of like you were saying, like you were hitting on it with his he knew going to that fight that he was definitely the favorite.
For sure.
And I think like that his ego got the best of him there because Malarkey came in, he was landing so many good shots. And then like just that final knockout blow, we were just like, all right, like Jamie, and I think he got him right there in the last few seconds too
Hmm.
of that round that he knocked him out. And
Hmm.
oh man, I just like that just kind of shows you though. Like you look at Worthy and Malarkey. Worthy, he fit like we're going off of this physical appearance. You're like, all right, Worthy's gonna take this, man. Like he's gonna drill this dude's face into the ground.
Yep.
Because Malarkey, he doesn't look intimidating at all.
Yeah.
But that's the beautiful thing about mixed martial arts.
Yes, sir.
The person that looks the least intimidating, they're usually the most dangerous.
Right. They catch you by surprise.
Because I'll even give you a good example. My One of my instructors at my dojo, he's oh my goodness, Walter is probably maybe like 5'6", maybe, and like 140. Not a big guy,
Nah, he's one of
but
these bantamweight, featherweight types.
yeah, right. And I kid you not, man. I watched like beforehand, I watched one of his fights and I was just like, oh my gosh, I was like, this dude, he could probably take on maybe even three guys and just like he can like whip their ass with
Yeah.
with ease
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it just goes back to like really the technique really and just the hard like the hours of training and having the chip on your shoulder. And I think Malarkey had a chip on the shoulder going into that
Yeah.
fight.
definitely had a chip on his shoulder. And it's kind of interesting. Like I was saying, just at the very beginning of this podcast, is that UFC. I mean, I've always been interested in MMA.
Hmm.
The first fight I ever purchased, and I told you this when we were watching the fight the
Yeah.
other day. First fight I ever purchased was Poirier McGregor 2 a couple months ago, and I've
Hmm.
I've purchased every main event since because it's just so exciting. It is one of the
Right.
most exciting sports, and it's so one of the things that I love about it. It's so easy to follow. You know,
It is. It
there's so
is.
many, like, the big fights is all. I mean, for a casual fan, all you got to do is pay attention to the big names. They have all the rankings up online, and it's pretty straightforward. The scoring is even pretty straightforward,
Right.
like 10-9, 10-8. That's about as far as you get, when if you're
Right.
just from a general sense. So no, it's very exciting. And I was particularly excited about this whole card in general. And it started off, I mean, this was a fun fight to watch. I mean, to see the kind of confidence versus the underdog with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. It's exactly what you want out of the kickoff of a main card.
For sure. And with that being said, like, going into the second fight with Miranda Maverick and um, you know, Jillian Robertson,
Mm-hmm.
that fight, I I mean, when I saw Miranda Maverick, when I saw that she was from Norfolk, Virginia, shout out to the 757 down there. Um, look, I definitely I went for it, but both of these both of these women, Miranda is 23, like she's younger than both of us,
Yeah,
and Jillian, she's 25, I
yeah,
think. Yeah, she was 25. So like she's like these girls are around our age,
yep.
and they were out there, and they honestly, out of the I'm not I don't want to downplay all the other fights, because like I think they, like, for all to go all 3 rounds, they definitely had probably the best fight on that main card.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. It was the most interesting fight. It felt like the most competitive fight, and
Yeah.
it was the only fight I really, for me, the only fight out of all five fights where there were significant momentum shifts, and I thought either one
Hmm.
could win at any given moment, which is, I think that's the making of a really entertaining fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like, and I think Jillian, she was ranked number 15,
Hmm.
like, for the flyweight division. And Miranda, she wasn't ranked at all. And I think that was her debut fight, I believe,
I
on.
think they said that. Yeah, I mean, it would make
Yeah,
sense. She's 23.
right. Like, yeah, very young. And the girl is she like, her ground game. I was really impressed with that, because there's, like you were saying, there's a couple of times it looked like Jillian was, she was possibly going to tap her out, and because when she had her on the ground, but she stayed so calm and poised when she was on the ground, and
Yep.
just she worked her way out of, like, tough situations
Yep.
where many other fighters we've seen, you know get finished, like, just with
Yeah.
submission.
Yep.
But yeah, these I was really impressed with these two, honestly.
I was impressed with the fight. Like I said, I'll echo it again. Like, that was the most interesting fight of the night. The other
For sure,
fights,
absolutely.
there were great moments in all the other fights, but this was the most interesting fight of the night because the two of them both had moments where you thought, oh well, this could be the momentum shift. This could be the swing, and it was just from start to finish. It was a great fight. By the end, I was pretty sure Maverick was going to win just based on kind of from a scoring perspective, who had landed the most, who had controlled,
Right.
the most. But I mean, both of these women had a phenomenal performance.
Yeah. So yeah, like, shout out to, like, the women in, like, in the UFC and MMA. Like, you guys, I think you guys don't get enough credit, because you guys are honestly just as exciting to watch. And, like, sure, like, you got the big name like Amanda Nunes and Chris Cyborg, like, all the like those two alone are fantastic to watch. But,
Mhm.
like, these young women right here, like, they're on their way, working their way up now, and they're definitely, both of them, even though Jillian lost, like, both of them have the potential, like, hey, keep an eye on them
Yep.
because I think we're going to be hearing more from them later on in their careers.
Absolutely.
Um, this this next fight though, man, with Sean O'Malley and Thomas Almeida. No, so what was your take on that? Because it I feel indifferent almost.
Yeah, I think that fight should have been over in the first round. Like
Hmm.
I think it honestly, there's an argument to be made that fight could have been called in the first round by TKO because
Hmm.
O'Malley, I think he had two walk-offs. He walked off.
Yeah.
He just let him sit twice in that fight. And it was because he put him on his ass.
Right.
He completely wiped the floor with him twice. Um, and that's the thing about Sean O'Malley, and the few times that I've been able to watch him fight in the highlights I've seen, he's
Hmm.
twitchy, he's
Yeah.
unpredictable, and that was on full display.
And he always, I noticed, like, you watch, because he, even Rachel was saying, like, that was like her first card that she's really watched like that.
Mhm.
And she was even saying with Sean, like, she said, man, he switches his stance often, like almost
Yes.
like he confuses you
Yeah.
so much, man. And he's, like you were saying, he's very fast and quick in his movements,
Mm-hmm.
where it's hard. Like, Thomas landed a couple good shots on him here
He
and
sure
there,
did.
but you know, Sean, he's slippery, man. Like, he's hard to lay a hand on.
Yeah, man. It was just kind of one of those fights where I think this was, I don't want to say this is the most lopsided fight because the next fight that we're going to talk about, much to your
Yeah,
disappointment, was
yeah,
pretty brutal to watch.
that hurt.
But
That hurt.
no, O'Malley just, I mean, he felt like he could. You know what? Here's the thing. Here's what I liked about Almeida's performance. He didn't give up at all.
No,
There was
no way.
no give up in that guy's brain at all. Like he got back up when he had the chance. When he saw the fight wasn't over, he got right back on his feet. And
Hmm.
there were some moments in the second round where he showed a lot of promise, a lot of stamina, but it just seemed like O'Malley was quicker, faster, better technique. That just felt like the way it went.
Right, and I think, like, Sean Sean had enough sense to know that he was the better fighter anyway.
Absolutely.
But he even said it. We both heard him say, like, he said Thomas is, like, he's a tough dude, man,
Mm-hmm.
because, like, he kept on getting back up.
Mm-hmm.
And like you were saying, that first round, he took a hard shot where it just literally put him on his ass.
I thought that was it.
And
I
yeah,
thought that
yeah,
was it.
yeah. I was like, all right, like, Sean, I see he
Yep.
had another knockout. And
Yep.
then, like you said, I think it's almost kind of like he was toying around with him a little bit, you know?
Yeah, yeah. He does this one
Like,
thing that I kept it's the head. It's people do head fakes, but it's the way he does his head fake where it's like a full 90-degree tilt with the chin. Like he looks over his
oh,
shoulder almost.
yeah,
And it's so
yeah,
disorienting, even from a viewer's perspective. It's like it's like choreography. It's bizarre.
yeah. And Sean, that's what I'm saying. Like, the cool thing about Sean too, though, Sean, he's only 26. Like, he's young. So, like, this dude, he's just scraping the surface
Yeah.
of how good of a fighter he can be. Because I think his last fight, I think that gave him enough time to kind of, like, hey, I'm not as good as I think I am.
Mm-hmm.
So he went back to the drawing board, and in this performance, like we said, he just, all three rounds, he dominated Thomas, man. And
Yeah, yeah, man. It's just it was dominant performance from the better fighter in the octagon. And I think if there's anything that I'd like to see moving forward from Sean, it's to shore up that maturity a little bit with the first
sure.
walk off. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because it was, yeah, I mean, and in his post fight interview, there wasn't anything glaring, but it's kind of sucks to stop hitting a guy and the fight just keeps going. It's a weird look. So those moments where he does know that he's the better fighter, to just kind of to drive the nail into the coffin a little bit and to kind of put your head down and do that last little bit of dirty work.
Right.
It's just one more small step towards him becoming one of the top elite fighters in the division, which I think he has the potential to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, just follow through with
Yep.
the performance that we know you can give.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like Zach, he already said it. Like this next fight,
It's your boy.
it hurt. Yeah, man, that hurt to watch because like for the people that don't know what we're talking about, Tyron Woodley and Vincent Luke Luke Luke
Luke, I think.
Luke, I believe. Yeah, Vincent Luke.
Yeah.
He that that was tough. And I knew going into this fight though, Tyron, he his last two performances have not been Tyron Woodley of what we know that he used to be. Emphasis on the word used. Used to be. All
I mean,
right. So
there's a reason he lost 3 fights in a row and still got the second highest billed fight in the entire night.
right, right.
He's got the rep.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like I told one of my guys today at the gym, I don't want to take anything away from Tyron Woodley because he's honestly he's a welterweight legend. Like he's a
Mm-hmm.
UFC legend. And like you just like I remember when we were looking at his highlights, I was like, oh my gosh.
He just handled people.
Yeah, it's like a pit bull, man. Like a
Yeah.
raging pit bull just going after guys, man.
Yeah. Yep.
But
Yep.
but his this performance, it hurt to watch because he started out strong. He started out strong in the first 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah, he came out. He
dude,
came
he
out
came out
on.
hard.
He was
like
hot, man. He was
like
hot.
he had Vincent posted against the fence, which I thought he usually dominates in that position. I think, and I think that's what he was trying to do, like his
Mm-hmm.
game plan. But like Vincent Luque, like he's a smart fighter,
Mm-hmm.
as he showed. Like he is a smart fighter,
Showed a lot of
and
patience.
yes, he did. He really did. Because like when he landed that one punch though on Tyron, it changed the whole atmosphere and the whole mood of the fight.
Dude, when you see a guy go Bambi legs like that, it's like,
Right. Yeah.
dude,
When your upper body bends over and your lower body stays straight as possible,
it's
it's
I can't remember who the tweet was. I don't remember if it was a celebrity or a fighter, but you know how they have like Twitter feed
yeah.
going on. Someone said he got choked out, tapped out, knocked out all in the same round. And he did, dude.
He did.
Got lit up.
Because I thought they were going to call it. Like you and I both thought they were going to call it.
Yeah, there was a good 30 seconds there where we were both just like, why is this fight still even happening?
Why is it going on? Because he was posted up, like he literally, like you could see in his eyes, like he was looking like just everywhere.
He couldn't find him.
Right. He didn't know, and he had to find where the fence was to even hold
Mm-hmm.
himself up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think Vincent respected Tyron Woodley so much though that he didn't want to knock him out. He didn't want to beat him like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he respected him by just tapping him out.
Mm-hmm.
And man, like it just hurt to watch because it's like, dude, like Tyron, what he used to be, Tyron Woodley was an animal in his prime, was one of the best, man, absolute best.
Yeah.
Like I remember when he single-handedly, like he mauled Max Holloway when they fought. They few years back, like I remember those two fighting, and I was like, whoo. No one's ever done that to Max Holloway.
Right.
But
you know what I found so interesting about it is, and hearing you talk about this, and you've been following UFC for a lot longer than I have, but I remember after the fight, I think they said that was Woodley's, I think it was his fourth loss in a row. And you think about these legends, these kind of aging legends who, they can still compete, but they're not who they used to be.
Right.
And you think about like how many really great fighters really end on a win. Like how often,
Mm,
like, or at least like a significant win, like a main event, main card win. How often can you, because I mean, I'm sure there are situations where that happens, but like, I don't think it's totally unexpected to see a guy like Woodley, who's I think 38 or something like that.
yeah, he's knocking at the door being 40.
Right, exactly. So I mean, you put him in a situation where he's up against a top 10 guy in the division, much younger than him.
Mm-hmm.
Guy's coming off 3 losses in a row. I mean, I get that you're hungry and all that, and I get you've got the legend, you've got the blood for it, but it's like, I don't know, man. It kind of feels like you're getting set up to be in a tough spot, you know?
Yeah, because going into that fight, like Tyron Woodley was ranked number 7 in the welterweight division. He was still ranked in the top 15,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy to think about, even after those 3 losses.
Yeah.
So, like, and I remember like prior to this fight, Kamaru Usman at like Tyron Woodley's last fight,
Mm-hmm.
he he said, and like he was commentating, basically just saying like, dude, you kind of gotta be real with yourself and ask yourself, hey, what am I fighting for at this point in my career? Like,
Yeah.
what do I have to prove? What do I have left to prove?
Because that's the thing. He's got nothing to prove.
No, and not at all, man.
No.
And it's just heartbreaking because I love Tyron Woodley, man, and like that, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just I kind of see him being like a he's going down the road Anderson Silva is going right now.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up Anderson Silva.
He's going down that road where Anderson was at the cream of the crop, like he was at the top. No, one of the baddest dudes in the UFC, and
Might be maybe the most well known, well
maybe
renowned. Maybe.
yes, like that was my dad's favorite fighter. Like he we
Yeah.
actually used to watch him fight all the time as a kid, but
Mhm.
yeah, like I just think he's kind of like fighting just to be fighting almost at this point.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's kind of interesting too because UFC and MMA in general is a lot different from other sports in that aging legends. You can find situations like in the NFL with Tom Brady, Drew Brees,
Yep.
these guys who've been around the game for a long time. Playing quarterback is a lot different from fighting. It's a different game, man, and it's a lot easier to age gracefully in these other big name sports than it is in a ring.
Right. And that's like and I think like let's look at the NBA for a little bit.
Yeah.
You got guys that play into their 40s now simply because one like a lot of them moved to being a bench player in later on in their career, so they're not getting as many minutes as they once were, and the mileage on their body is kind of contained
Yep.
in a sense. And
You don't have that option in the ring.
right, you don't like it's that's the hard thing about just individualized sports anyway, like in track,
Yes.
UFC, wrestling, like all these sports where you're an individual competitor, you can't hide really, and
Mhm.
I'm not trying to say these players like those NBA players are hiding or anything, but you
But it's
just
no secret that Carmelo Anthony isn't starting, like or
right.
starting in a certain, in certain situations,
Hmm.
and Carmelo Anthony is one of my favorite players of all time, and he's also one of my favorite current players in the NBA because of how well he's adapted to his new role in Portland.
Exactly right.
But that's the thing is he can adapt. He has that option. Tyron Woodley doesn't have an adapt option. He can't, come off the bench. He's in the middle of a fight. That's just the way it is.
Right. And like and I kind of like with these fighters right now, I don't want to spend like this focus too much on time because I want to say like with with Luke, like he showed that, hey, I can hang, in this welterweight division because he's a big welterweight too,
Yeah,
man. And
he's a
I
big guy.
guarantee he probably walks around in like 200 like
Mhm.
210, somewhere
Yeah.
in in that frame.
Yeah.
But man, dude, like he looked good.
He
He
did look
looked
good.
good, man.
Yeah, and I,
And
I don't want to take anything away from him, right? Because we've
no,
been
for sure
spending this
not.
whole time talking about the guy who lost the fight. So
Right.
yeah, Luque deserves his top 10 berth. He deserves to be able to climb up the ladder after this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I think he called out Nate Diaz too.
A little bit.
I believe he called Nate Diaz out, and I'm just like, are you, man? Like, look, Nate, I would like to see that fight, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
because both of them they're kind of the same person in their style.
Yeah, yeah,
Because you look at it, like both of them are like they're Brazilian Jiu Jitsu practitioners.
yeah. Hmm.
Like that's their game. But if they had to, they can cold clock you too, man. Like with ease, and both of them have a fantastic reach. Like I would like to see that fight.
Yeah, I'd
I
chip that
mean,
fight.
yeah. So like Dana, yeah, give that man give that man that fight, man.
Give him a
Please.
ring.
Yes, I'm trying to see it, man.
Yes, sir.
Um, so this this championship fight, it makes me so mad because we were like what 2 minutes into the fight.
We must have yeah, it was about 2 minutes because it was still the first round.
Yeah, because like we saw where Stipe tried to go for the takedown. If Francis he blocked it, and I just like I think you did you hear me? I was like, oh,
Yeah,
like when he blocked it, I said that's going to be trouble for
that's telling.
Stipe, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because because if that was Francis back 3 years ago, Stipe was getting that, man.
Yeah.
But
And if it was Stipe
um,
3 years ago, Stipe might have been getting that too.
yes, yes,
Talk about
yes,
guys who are
yes,
pushing the wrong
yes.
side of 30.
Right, right. And that's like you look at it though with we saw where Francis like he got it to his back and he started just wailing in on his head, and then the worst thing happened, people. The internet went out and we missed
He missed the
the
knockout.
knockout, the most important part of this fight, the biggest fight on this card.
We were sitting there for hours getting through some of
It
these
was
fights.
12:30.
It
It
was
was 12:30, dude.
ridiculous.
And like we lost it. And then I remember you got it back. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden we just see Francis running around the ring. And I was like,
We
oh
got the
my
replay
God.
though. We got to see the
We
replay
did.
knockout, which
That
was brutal.
that knockout was I went back and watched the highlights yesterday morning,
Yeah.
and dude, Francis he like my coach said this morning, and I agree with him. I do agree with him, but he he was saying that Francis is like he's a one way guy. Like he only has really like his boxing is what like he does. Like he doesn't really go to the ground too much. Like and of course he knows like jujitsu like what MMA fighter doesn't. But he's a boxer, really.
Yeah.
And he does it really well. He
Yep.
just happens to do it really, really well.
Yeah.
And I think like this is probably what Brock Lesnar thought he was like back then,
Yeah.
because like Francis Ngannou, he literally has the hardest punch on record in the UFC ever, like
That's
of all time.
and that's not for nothing, man. That's
No, no, man.
it's probably doesn't feel good to get touched
No,
by that.
right. And like, and no one's. We saw the replay. We saw like where Stipe when he literally he his legs didn't even fully extend all the way. Like he literally
No.
bent down onto his knees,
Mhm.
and then his legs shot out from underneath him.
Yep.
And it was like, oh my god! Like no, we never seen anybody do that to Stipe.
Dude, the first real shot that Ngannou threw
Oh yeah,
in the first round,
you could hear it.
you could
You can
hear
hear.
it. I thought we were gonna get a first round KO. Like
I thought so.
really, he hit him so hard. And Stipe took it like a champion does, like a defending champion should, and like he
Right.
would. But it's still, it was one of those shots where you're like, I mean, he's here to play. Like it was no joke. It was early, and he hit him right on the chin.
I and I like I'm gonna be honest, like I wanted Francis to win
Yeah,
because Francis just his story, just where he came from, and just the route that he had to take to get to where he is
yeah,
currently is almost like a movie.
yeah,
It's literally like a movie.
yeah.
And like for the people that haven't listened to this man's story, do yourself a favor, go listen to Joe Rogan's podcast with him. No, I think this is actually his latest episode with Francis Ngannou, and like I think Joe Rogan actually like teared up a little bit just hearing about his story, man.
I mean, you gotta. I, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who is
Mm,
gonna go take a listen, but it's just kind of one of those. It without really giving anything away. The dude started from nothing,
he literally started from nothing.
like nothing,
Hmm.
and now he's here, and now he's the heavyweight champ of the world.
Yes, like and I don't want to take anything away from Stipe, because like we're in the world of sports, we're so quick to jump ships, like from the next from one big thing to the next big thing. And I
Remember Ronda Rousey?
right, right,
Like
right.
seriously.
And like no one ever talked about her again. And I'm not trying to compare Stipe to Ronda, but
Yeah,
I do
different
want to
worlds.
I do want to say though, Stipe, he might have been one of the greatest like heavyweight champions of all time. I think
Well,
he was.
yeah, I think I mean I agree, and it's kind of one of those things where he's quietly tied for the most heavyweight title defenses in UFC history.
Oh yeah, like you and I both were like, what?
Yeah,
Like
like it's
what?
just wild. I mean, and
And
guess it makes sense. He's not like a young guy, but still,
that's what I'm saying. Like he was dominating even later into his career. Like
yes,
that, man, like that's crazy.
yes.
And honestly, Stipe is it's hard to not like him either,
No,
because
he seems like a really genuine kind of guy.
yeah, he's a genuine guy. Like all right. I was watching like the UFC, like the lead up to the fights, the videos that they post on YouTube,
Hmm.
and oh my goodness, man, he just a down to earth guy. Like
Yeah,
he was playing spades with his buddies, like
yeah,
from like in his coaches. Like he's just a genuine guy. And I remember they said that when he first won the oh man, yeah, when he first won the heavyweight championship, he actually his next shift at the fire department, and yes, people, this man is a firefighter
right,
outside of MMA.
right.
He he worked a 24-hour shift. He
That's
worked a
stupid.
24-hour shift, dude. And that's what I'm saying. And that's normal in like, in the fire department world, like to work 24-hour shifts.
Yeah,
So like, like definitely like kudos to you guys and shout out to you guys, because like you guys, like you keep us protected, man. And
yeah,
I
for
think
real.
like yeah, you guys don't get enough credit for what you actually do. So yeah, man, like shout out to all the firefighters out there, because I just I can't imagine, like especially like for somebody like Stipe being a UFC fighter, and the training schedule of a UFC fighter is rigorous, and then being a firefighter on the side.
Can you imagine being the guys on that crew and seeing him the next day? I'd be like, what the hell are you doing here?
Oh, but you know what though? But they said Stipe said this about them. They said that they treat him just the same as anybody. They don't treat
Oh
him like a
yeah.
celebrity. Like he said that they made him go and clean the toilets.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. So they
Yeah.
kept him humble, kept
Yeah.
him humble, and like,
There's no belt
but
for being a firefighter.
right, right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, and it's just cool though, because it's like, dang, dude, like this man, he's just so level headed, man, and
Hmm.
he's humble, and I just he's a great fighter. He
Yeah.
is a great fighter. And though he got knocked out by Francis on Saturday,
Yeah, but dude,
I don't
he got knocked out by like one of the best
one
punchers
of
in
the
his
best.
prime.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like you got like at least it was somebody that was a beast.
Yeah,
Like he
dude's a monster, man.
I would like to see anybody else out there try to take a punch from Francis.
Probably gonna get to see Bones Jones do it pretty soon.
And that's what I was going to move on to.
Yeah.
It makes sense to have that fight, right?
It
John
it
Jones and
it
Francis Ngannou.
it's the only fight that makes sense. And honestly, if Stipe had won, then it would have been Stipe Bones, because it just kind of felt like whoever walked away from this fight with the belt would now be facing perhaps the current best pound for pound men's fighter in the world.
Yes, absolutely. And I remember, I think Dana, I didn't like how I agree because John Jones was a little pissed off with Dana White when he did this on Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Dana was kind of making it look like that John Jones was, ducking and running away. And John was like, dude, he said, I just want to be paid what I'm actually worth.
And
Because he said, if
yeah.
I'm going to fight for the belt, especially like he said, let's do this thing big. Like, pay both of us big contracts and let's fight. Because he said, he wants to fight. I know he wants to fight.
What fighter doesn't? What like true fighter? And John Bones Jones is a true fighter. Doesn't want to
Yes,
fight. You know, of
right,
course he wants to fight.
exactly. And I didn't like how Dana like really did because but Dana, he's famous for doing that though. Like
Yeah.
he always but I think he does it though to kind of push the person a little further. Like, hey, that's if I keep um poking and prodding at you,
Yep.
you're going to come sign this contract.
Yep.
But John Jones is definitely he's one of those guys that he's hard to really persuade like that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's in that position where he can really say no to whatever he wants.
Yeah, because
He's
he's
kind of earned
proved
that right at this point.
absolutely like John Jones, like you were saying, because I remember like my sister in law, like her boyfriend was like, like to John Jones, like is he, like why doesn't he just go on and fight? And we were like, dude, like it's a treat to see him fight, man.
Really,
Like because he fights maybe like every 2 years maybe,
maybe.
and I like John Jones when he fights, he puts on a show, man. So I'm excited for it, like because I know it's going to happen, and it's probably going to be a fight that's either going to it's probably going to happen in December. I'm gonna take a guess. It's probably going to happen in December because you want to fight that's going to take you out the new year, take you out into the new year.
Mm-hmm.
That's like that's going to be the biggest. I think that can be one of the biggest fights in UFC history.
Yeah. Yep. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, because Francis, we're gonna be honest. Francis is basically a UFC 6'5", 265 version of Mike Tyson.
Oh,
Like he is. Like he genuinely is Mike Tyson. Because and
yeah.
Mike Tyson's even actually showed him a couple of moves too, and I'm just like, dude, this man already has a hard punch. Like
Yeah.
now he's
Relax, Mike.
God dang.
keep it
So like
keep it to
I
yourself. Leave some
I
for the rest of
just
them.
right, man. And how crazy would it be though if Francis knocks out John Jones? Like how crazy though, because if Francis does that, you got to crown Francis Ngannou as the greatest heavyweight fighter of all time, or if not the best fighter of all time.
Dude, it's yeah, and you know what? In that situation, what what does John Jones look like at that point? You know, he
Hmm.
it's kind of a weird spot for him if he does lose and lose like that, because then it's like he's not what he hypes himself up to be. And not that he doesn't deserve to hype himself up and to
Right,
have the kind of, reputation that he does have, but if he gets knocked out by Francis Ngannou, that, John Jones all of a sudden is, he's mortal.
right. right.
Yeah,
Like
he's got to start slumming it again if he wants to keep competing.
and in a fight that people aren't really talking about, that two people I want to see fight, and I've been wanting to see it for the longest time, is Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou.
Oh yeah,
I
and
want
yeah,
these two. Like they fought before, and Derek Lewis got the best of him. But
Ngannou's different now.
yes, that was Ngannou. He was first coming into the UFC. He he was rushed. He was a very, very, like he was too aggressive. Almost, you would say, like he's rushing for the knockout blow when it wasn't there, and he let it come to him. Now, like he knocked out Stipe,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and no one's ever done that. Like no one's like the way he knocked him out. No one has ever done that to Stipe, man.
Not the way that happened.
No,
No. Yeah.
like oh my gosh, like I said, man, he got baptized, dude. Like
Yes.
he
Yeah.
got baptized.
Yeah.
So I really do hope though that they make this. I want this fight to happen though, man. So
Yeah. Yep. You know
yeah,
it's in the works. Like it's
yeah.
just a matter of time.
Like come, like guys, go on. I want to get on my. I always get Bleacher Report notifications saying, "Hey, such and such signed to this team," or I want to see a Bleacher Report notification on my phone saying John Jones and Francis Ngannou fight is set for whatever date, and I like that day that happens. Oh my gosh! Like I'm going to circle it on the calendar because that's what we all been waiting for, man.
It's absolutely what we've been waiting for, and in my mind, it's just a matter of time.
Absolutely, absolutely, man.
Yep. Yep.
So like moving on though from UFC news and just like all the fantastic fights that we saw this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about these NBA moves, man. Because
Yeah.
last week we saw some crazy last minute moves near the trade deadline.
Very much so. And you often see, you see some last minute moves. And I gotta say, I was actually, I mean, pleasantly surprised is kind of an interesting word because it's always exciting to see NBA trades. So I was pleasantly surprised at the fact that there were some big moves because now this year with the kind of expanded playoffs, I thought a lot more teams would be wanting to hold on to their all-stars. Like,
Yeah, right.
like Orlando is not really like out of it because now all you have to do is make the 10 seed to have a shot.
Dude,
So
they got rid of two, like two
yeah,
big all
they
stars.
they, they cleaned they cleaned house because they dropped Aminu and Fournier too. They
Like that's
completely cleaned house.
crazy.
I don't know if you saw Terrence Ross on Twitter, and for the listeners who aren't, who don't listen to like the deep tracks of the Orlando Magic, but Terrence Ross is, he's a solid player. Certainly not one of these big name guys, but he did the Captain Phillips "I'm the captain now" gif, and everyone got left. That was pretty
but
funny. Pretty,
but it's true though,
yeah, right.
because
You're
it's
like,
like
really?
it's like kind of like the next man up now in
Yep.
there, because like Nikola Vukovic, like that's oh my, I
Yeah.
I I'm telling you, I think that move that the Chicago Bulls made was huge, like on the good side, because Zach Levine, like that Bulls team is so young, and I think once they learn how to win, they're going to be unstoppable, man.
Yeah.
Because Zach Levine, on like we already said it, he's the most underrated player in the league. I believe, like we know he's the most underrated.
Yeah, I think we agree on, and we kind of talked about this the other day.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is often overlooked by a lot of casual NBA fans. But the things he can bring to a game, like I think the next step for him is to kind of become one of those two-way elite perimeter
hmm
defender types, and I think he has the athletic ability and the intelligence to bring his game to that level. But like he's already an absolute just like force on the offensive end. He can
yes,
shoot and he can drive and he can pass, he can get around you. He's legitimate. He's a legitimate offensive force.
Right. Like he's more than just a dunker. Like he's way more than that just now.
No. And he, yeah,
Um, like and then with the addition of Nicola, man.
yeah, yeah. It's
Whew,
interesting. They gave up a haul for him too.
they did.
You know, they dropped
They
two
did.
firsts and Wendell Carter, who I mean, I'm not sleeping on yet.
No, no,
So
because
it's interesting to think about,
he's young.
he's I mean, yeah, he's young. He still has that kind of he has the pedigree, he's got the resume to be a solid big man player, and then
Mm-hmm.
obviously two first round picks is it's nothing to sniff at.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think Orlando, I mean, if you look at it, if I'm a Magic fan, I'm looking at this trade deadline and I'm like, great, let's tank. Let's lose as many games as possible, get as many picks as possible, and reset.
Right.
Because I don't think Orlando ever really had the pieces to put a contender together.
No,
I think
no.
the Aaron Gordon, I mean, Aaron Gordon, I think Aaron Gordon was often overhyped because he often was the best player on that team, and he's not a best player on your team kind of guy.
He's not like, and he's. I think he got that hype just because of how freakishly athletic he is.
Right. Talk about athletic.
Because his, like, let's like look back. I remember watching a game on Martin Luther King Day back when I was in high school. He was a senior in high school, and I believe I might have been a freshman in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember this dude was just jumping out the freaking roof, man, and just dunking on everybody. People were throwing alley oops up to him and going crazy. And I was like, man, this like he's fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at Arizona, really fun to watch.
Yeah.
But when he got into the league, though, he he's definitely a player on the floor where you don't want to undermine what he can do. It's like now in his career because he can shoot threes.
He
He's
can
a
shoot
shooter.
now. He
He can
can.
shoot now,
He got a jump shot.
right? Like he's created a jumper.
But he's not
He
he's
can
not like an elite playmaker. Like I think he was
no
often kind of like forced into this square, peg in a round hole, kind of like BR guy to like run the
right.
offense around. And he feels like more of an off-ball guy who can cut to the rim, who you can pass
Yes.
to, when you have an open look. You need to surround him with like one of these point guards or point forwards who has the ball, who sets the play. I think he's best suited for that type of role. And I don't think the Magic, the entire time he was with Orlando, ever had that kind of guy.
No, you're right. And it's like last year, I know like with the bubble, things were weird, but like they made the playoffs. They got that last spot in the East, but they had a quick first round exit. So I mean, it's not like they couldn't at least get to the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, they had talented guys.
Right. They had talented guys, but it's just like, dang, dude, like you have a few holes in your roster, man, that you need to gotta kind of kick the boot on.
Yep.
And which is crazy to think about. Like you let go of your best player in Nikola Vucevic, and
Yeah.
then you let go of like really,
Your
I
second
guess like
best
your
player.
second best. Yeah, your
Yeah.
second best. You let go of your two best players on your team,
They
and it's
might
like,
have they might
dang,
have gotten rid of their four best players.
I think yeah.
In maybe Markel Fultz is up there, but they might have gotten rid of their four best players on the team.
Yeah, I could not believe. I was just like, dang, dude, and I think Aaron Gordon being a part of the Denver Nuggets, I think that's a good move.
I
I
think
think it was a good move
I think if
because
I'm the Nuggets, I'm very happy with that move.
he's not like you were saying. He's not going to be the main guy. Like you got
Right.
Nikola Jokic
Yep.
and Jamal Murray,
Yep.
and you got all these younger guys too that's
Yes.
starting to creep up now and take on a role. And Aaron Gordon, I think is going to fit perfectly in
Oh
there.
yeah. I think
I
he's
think
gonna
he
have a
is.
blast too.
Yeah, because he doesn't have to carry all that load now, man.
Yeah, right. Like he's got the pressures off his shoulders. He's on a contending team with two
Mm-hmm.
established all stars. All he has to do is play his game.
Right. And I think we're going to see Denver, like once they start to kind of mesh together, we're going to see them start to climb up in that the Western Conference.
Hmm.
So
Dude, that's my
I'm excited to
MVP.
see it. Yeah, for sure, man. I'm look, Jokic. I people, we we gotta stop sleeping on this man.
There's
We had to stop sleeping on him because
yeah, man.
he sure he doesn't have like these physical attributes
Hmm.
that are sexy, and he doesn't he's not going to wow you or anything like only the really what he wows you with is his no look passes and how accurate they are.
Dude, he's a point center.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
he's a
and
point center and he's good at it.
interesting thing about it too, when he was back overseas, he was playing point guard,
Yeah.
and you could see it. You can see like you see how he handles the ball, and so I'm excited though, man. I think with Embiid out now,
Hmm.
like it's kind of hard not to look at like Nikola Jokic and say, all right, we we can't ignore him anymore.
No, no, you can't. I mean, LeBron just got hurt too.
Yeah, LeBron's out now.
So it kind of feels like Jokic might be in the pole position for the MVP. I know people are talking about James Harden too for it. I I gotta see it to believe it because
He
I know he's transformed his game. I know he's playing really well
he's
with
a team
Brooklyn.
player now. Actually,
He is a
he's an
team player
actual
now.
team player
I
now.
know. And it's like it sucks as a fan of any team other than the Nets to be like, of course, now he suddenly, cares about distributing the ball. It's just like
Right.
suddenly he's the perfect fit for the Nets. But I don't know, man. I don't know how you can vote for that guy to be the MVP with the turbulence that the beginning of the season was for him. Like it would really shock
Facts.
me.
Facts.
It would shock me.
I agree with you on that. And speaking of the Nets, dude, they went ballistic, and you got Blake Griffin now, LaMarcus Aldridge, dude. Like, what? Are you trying to sign Thanos next? Like, what you what are you doing, man? Like, good
It's like
gosh.
I will say this. I think Blake Griffin has seen better days, and
Yeah.
I think LaMarcus Aldridge is still very much a contributor in his own way. He's not really he's not the sort of like 25-10 guy he was in
No.
Portland or
Yeah.
his early San Antonio days, but he's still, I mean, both of these guys can still do stuff. And anytime you're on a team with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, you're going to score 15 points any given night, 20 points any given night. But it's like this Brooklyn Nets team is suddenly the who's who of the 2015 NBA. It's like,
I will even say this too, though, dude. This team might be even more dangerous than the Golden State Warriors with KD on there. Like you look at how deep you just look, but dangerous might be a bad word because like Klay Thompson and Steph Curry alone they
I'm
will
not.
hurt you.
I don't think I can really disagree with you though.
But right, yes, but you look at it though, like outside of those three, like KD, Clay, and Steph. I mean, sure you had Draymond in there, but at that five, like what Zaza Pachulia, like what is he gonna do? What? Like,
There,
what?
yeah, dude. There's such different teams, like because you look at Golden State and they had this thing about them that was just like balls always moving, guys are always running
Yes,
around. There's 3 point. I mean, they made the 3 point
it
shot
was
what
like
it
a
is.
3 point San Antonio, like
Yeah.
emphasis on 3 point scoring San
Yes.
Antonio.
Yeah, that kind of offense where it's like there's no, I mean, Steph ran the game, but there's no like one like guy that you got to look out for because everyone's going to find a way to
A
get
threat.
open. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's going to find a way to be a threat. And with Brooklyn, I mean, Harden's a distributor. Kyrie can distribute if he needs to. KD can
Mm-hmm.
distribute if they need to. But it's like with Brooklyn, the problem is who are you going to double team?
Dude, you and that's what I was saying. Like everybody 1 through 5 can shoot threes. That's going to be the scary thing about it, man. Like LaMarcus Aldridge, he's still arguably has one of the best mid-range jumpers I've ever seen
It's so pure.
for a freaking like 4 or 5 guy
Yeah,
at the
he's
top.
such a pro. He's a
At
consummate pro.
Yeah, like at the elbow, he he's draining that every single time, dude.
Yeah.
And his jumper is just it's so like you say, it's so pure, man.
Yeah.
And then like Blake Griffin, I don't want to sleep on Blake Griffin because and I'll say the reason why in his career now, obviously he's not the most athletic guy that we once saw when he first came into the league. But now he's like a complete player as far as like I can score. Like oh, I would say like offensively, he's a complete player now, where he can shoot the mid range jumper, 3-pointer, and he can still give you a dunk like here and there. But his
Hasn't yet this year.
no, right, right, and that's what I'm saying. Like maybe take it easy on your knees.
Yeah,
Take
yeah,
it
yeah.
take it easy on your knees.
Get some ice
Um,
packs.
but yeah, like hey, get your icy hot, man.
Yeah, right.
But like but let's look at the bench though. All right, you got Joe Harris,
Leading the league
who
in 3-point percentage.
yes, like Joe Harris is leading the league with 3-point percentage, man. And Joe Harris, I saw this man. I got blessed to be able to see this man play at UVA, because like my buddy and
Cool.
we actually got to talk to him after the game. Really
Cool.
awesome, nice guy. Um, Joe is freaking lethal, dude. And I just anybody trying to guard him from the 3-point line, good luck. you know, because he will hit a three in your face. It doesn't matter.
No.
Um,
But the
and then
problem is like what we were just talking about is like if you're guarding him, because at any given moment you have like 3 MVPs on the floor. So it's like
exactly,
it's like what do you even do defensively?
you
How do
picking your
you
poison.
But yeah, it's like and it truly is picking a poison because there's like no solution to guarding the
Hmm.
Brooklyn Nets offense. If they're clicking, you're not gonna stop them from
Yeah,
scoring 125 points.
and we got to see a glimpse of that. One they had 1 or 2 games this year where they were hitting on all cylinders. And I remember checking this the box score, and I think Kyrie had like 40, KD had like in the 30s, James had like 25, and I was like, good grief, dude! Like, I think these three alone can just like they'll just put up points on you. And then Joe Harris, I think he even had like 20 points, dude. Like
Probably, yeah.
he just like
Dude's got shooting practice in the corner.
right. He's lethal, dude. And then you look at people. I don't like how people look down on this man, DeAndre Jordan.
I love
All right,
DJ.
I love DeAndre Jordan's my dude, man. Like I will forever rock with this man because
Yeah.
he's a good like he's a cool dude, man.
Yeah,
And
man.
I just when you
Vegans
just look at
represent, baby.
yeah, bro, my man, he killed. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. My man is like he's 7 feet tall
Yeah.
and 260, 270 pounds of muscle,
Yeah.
and he eats mainly vegetables.
Yeah.
Dude, like that's crazy to
Yeah.
think about that this man, like he still can fly through the air. Like I saw it this year. This man had a putback dunk in one of the first games of the year where it was one-handed, just yammed so hard on somebody. And then his defense is still he still will give you a ton of boards, a ton of blocks. Like he dude, like they have a complete team. And
Absolutely.
really, hey, with LeBron being gone now on the Lakers, it's wide open, dude. Like you can it's right there for you guys.
There's a
And if you
lot of yeah. I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, no.
there's a lot of kind of like NBA like pundits, like the ESPN types of guys who are kind of just saying Brooklyn's the favorite, and it's kind of hard to think about them not as the favorite given
It's
just the roster.
right. It's so hard to say, all right, Philadelphia or anybody like you can't, dude. Like you cannot say anybody else and be serious.
Boston.
Yeah, right. And man, oh my god, that hurts to even think about. But
They're no, they're 500 now, aren't they?
I,
We're
I
taping this
you
on
know
a
what?
Tuesday. It's
I think yeah. Let's say
23 and
look
23.
these these dudes, we got some work to do, man, because that hurts. Like
It's so painful to watch.
we were so good last year, and now we're like, we're 500 now, and we taking on the Pelicans tonight.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll put us over 500.
Yeah, I'll be watching that game. I'll be watching that
Yes,
game after this.
but um, I I think like just with all the trades that happened, because like there were so many, and like if we hit on all of these, like we would have like a 2 hour show. But but I do want to say though, I called the signing of Andre Drummond going to the Lakers. I like
that,
I did a I always do a fantasy draft
that was
on
yours.
NBA 2K,
That was your
and my
pick.
team, my starting five, I have let's see, who's at my one on there. I got Tyler Hero, Victor Oladipo,
Tyler
Jimmy
Hero's having
Butler.
a bad year.
He is, man.
He's
He
having a rough
is.
year.
It's weird. I think it's like it's a shooter's thing. I think he's predominantly a shooter. It's definitely gonna be a learning experience for him too, because he's not even old enough to drink yet.
Dude, that's the thing. Is like it's tough to say he's having a bad year, like he's
He's not
20 years
even,
old.
he's not even old
It's
enough to
20
drink
years old.
yet. That's
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
like he's obviously got the potential to be a very good player. I think he
Hmm.
could be an all-star just based on the kind of clutch blood we saw in the playoffs last year. But like
Yeah.
it's just he's having an off year. The whole Miami thing feels kind of
Yeah,
off.
Miami has been definitely had a pretty like a roller coaster of a year so
Yeah.
far. So
Anyway,
I
sorry,
oh,
go ahead.
no, yeah, I hope they get their stuff back together though. But like at the 4, I
Yeah,
have
right.
Rudy Gay,
Okay.
and at the 5, I got Andre Drummond.
Yeah.
So that when that, but that's not the. If people are going to say, "Oh, he's just saying this," and like, no,
I believe you.
in Madden '06, I remember I put Michael Vick on the Eagles, and it was so crazy when Michael Vick came back, from serving his time.
Yep.
I remember when he signed with the Eagles, I was like, all right. I said I need to start like YouTubing this or something, because I said
Yeah.
like this. I'm telling you, it's insane. I don't know, like because people are like, are you just that good like at matchmaking, like with like of who will be good? I I wouldn't say that. I just sometimes it's just like what I well I just feel like I just have a feel like, all right,
I mean, give yourself some credit.
I don't know. I guess, yeah, I guess I have that feel
Yeah,
of
you
like
got the feel.
who would be a good fit for like what system, and because I don't know, like, and a lot of it too though is just taking a wild ass guess. Like, but I will say though, it's just I don't know, like there's definitely a lot of players like, and just not in like just basketball, but in football, where I just you can see them like just fit into a system so well, just
Hmm.
their play style,
Hmm.
So
Yep.
I just, yeah, I'm excited though to see if I like, because Andre Drummond, he he's at a point in his career now where he is a dominant center, but there's a big but for this. He'll give you 20 points, he'll give you 20 boards, but it almost like it doesn't show up on the box score.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like it has no impact on the game like it should, and I just think that's just because of the teams that the others
Right.
around him.
Well, that's the
Because
thing is you kind of got to put it in perspective, right? He's never been on a good team.
no, he's never had anybody like in Detroit. Man had Rodney Stuckey, like, dude, like, dude, he just never had anybody to work with. Then he went to the Cavs,
I never understood that. I think we've even talked
No,
about that. Never understood why he was on the
that was like one
Cavs.
of the biggest question mark moves of like, what, why, just a why.
I never ever understood that.
So I really hope though that you know the Lakers. I don't know. It depends on with the AD situation and
Mhm.
LeBron how long they're going to be. Because with those two gone, you you can really kiss your chances of winning the ring goodbye. You
Yeah,
know,
depending on how long they're gone,
yeah,
absolutely.
depending upon how long they're gone, you can kiss your chances of winning the ring goodbye.
Right.
But if they come back,
Healthy.
like healthy and really picking up where they left off, like dude, Andre Drummond and Anthony Davis down low, that'd be scary to think about, man.
Oh
Oh
man. I mean, I
God,
remember when AD and Boogie Cousins were doing the kind of like
dude,
Twin Towers thing in New Orleans. And Boogie Cousins had like until he got hurt, he was playing like an MVP.
bro, he had like I remember he had a 50-point game at one point, dude.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. And you know what? If that is what it's like to play center next to Anthony Davis as the power forward, imagine how Andre Drummond is going to be able to perform.
Anthony Davis too. I This is one aspect of him that I think that doesn't get talked about enough because he's definitely getting the credit that he deserves. But one of the aspects that doesn't get talked about enough with him is the impact that he has on the players around him.
Yes.
Because you look at like LeBron. LeBron is LeBron. LeBron's going to be great. He's going to do his thing. But it's almost like when he played with AD, it's like he entered a whole nother zone of
Yeah.
I just because last year you were just like this dude. It's hard to believe that he was like his mid 30s.
Anthony Davis was almost a Boston Celtic.
Dude,
I think
we
about that
needed
all the time.
we if we could have got that, I think we could have went to the
Would you do
East.
that? Would you do this deal right now? Would you send Tatum, Rob Williams, Peyton Pritchard, and a first for Anthony Davis?
Ooh,
I'll make it. I'll tell you what. I'll even go.
I love
I'll
Tatum
I'll go with
so
this.
much.
We'll call it Jalen Brown, Rob Williams, Peyton Pritchard, 2 first-round picks for Anthony
Ooh,
Davis. Because now it's a much more difficult conversation to have. But when something similar to that was on the table 3 years ago, I
right.
was I was a lot more ready to pull
Yeah,
the
yeah.
trigger.
All right. Now back at that time, I probably because I mean I think JB and Jason last year they hit a whole nother different zone
Right,
of the players that they are going to be.
right.
And JB, we never seen somebody like because he was like a predominantly like an athletic dunker,
Mhm,
not a 3-point shooter or anything like that.
mhm,
And last year, this dude was dropping like 30 some points a game, dude.
mhm. Yeah,
So
and he's got flashes of very good defense too.
yeah, he does.
Yeah,
The athleticism, man, like he uses it on both ends of the court.
absolutely. But that's the thing is it's an interesting kind of thing to think about in retrospect because that's kind of the package that the Lakers gave up because it was Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, and a package of picks.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of it. I mean, Brandon Ingram's an all-star.
Yeah,
He's
for
he's
sure.
he's made an all-star team, and then
Right.
Lonzo's a very very talented point guard, and Josh Hart's a very very solid spark plug off the bench. So they didn't give up. I mean, they gave up a king's ransom for it. But that's the thing is you look at Anthony Davis now on the Lakers, and I mean, part of it you got to think about, LeBron's on the team, so it's kind of hard to not be
Sure.
good when LeBron James is on your team. But
Right.
dude, I mean, they won the ring, and if those two bounce back healthy, they might win it again. So they look like they're kind of coming out of that with the win.
And with an addition of Andre Drummond,
Right.
those 20 boards and 20 points a game,
Mm-hmm.
they're definitely going to impact the game
Yeah.
in this retrospect because like you just like the obviously with the talent around him, and then just Andre Drummond, he's he's often overlooked, I believe.
Very, very
He's
often for because I think like rebounding is sort of like that lost art. No one really
it is
cares that much about
like
rebounds.
that. To be real with you, that's why that's why I put him on my fantasy team
Yeah.
on 2K, because like this dude, I kid you not, Zach, I had one game, he had like 18 points, but had like 25 rebounds too. Like
Stupid,
he
dude.
was this dude, but he can do that though. That's the scary thing about it. Like he can do that because he's willing to put his ass out there and box you out and go and get the board. Like he's willing to do that.
I gotta bring up a number here. I'm gonna look at my phone here for a second
No, go ahead.
because someone the other day put up. Oh yeah, it was what's his name? It was and I'm gonna say this is the most silly little thing. It was when the Celtics were playing the Thunder, and it was while we were watching the fight. But I looked down at my phone at one point, and I saw what's I don't even know. I don't even know who this guy is, and I know who he is now. But Moses Brown, Oklahoma City Thunder
Okay.
center. He had 23 rebounds, I think, before the fourth quarter.
Oh God.
I think it was before the fourth quarter. And I was like, what is going on? But they ended up getting crushed. So it just goes to show you, like, dude, I've never heard before, had 23 rebounds and it didn't matter at all. They lost by 20 points.
Right. And see, right. And like unless you don't capitalize on those rebounds anyway,
Yeah.
that's the hard part about it. So it's almost like, man, dude, I was busting my ass for nothing really.
Yeah.
And
Really though.
so I think like Andre Drummond, we're going to see him. I think we're actually going to see a side of him where because he's his free throw percentage has gotten way better from where he
Yeah.
once was. Because
You
I
can't
don't
you can't really hack him anymore. You probably can a
nah,
little bit, but not as much.
yeah, you can't make it as obvious as they used to
Yeah.
because that's actually why they came up with that rule now, where it's like, all right, like you guys like let the flow of the game
Mm-hmm.
come happen, and because like people were sending this man about 20-25 times to the line a night, and they knew he couldn't shoot. But part of that though goes back on him. Shame on you for not, like really working on your free throws at that time, because you knew that was going to happen. You knew
Yeah.
that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
and I think that's why, like, you look at the big guys like like Tim Duncan, like when he was going to, it didn't matter if you fouled him or not because he was going to make you pay
Yeah.
regardless.
Yep.
So like I really hope though with this season that things. uh, I know this is not a normal NBA season, so we're not going to get that this year, but hopefully going into next year we'll get things back to normal, because I think a lot of these teams that made these big moves, I don't think nothing crazy is going to happen right away.
Mm-mm.
And obviously, you look at the Miami Heat when they first made that move to get LeBron and Bosh. Like they didn't mesh well until like 3 months in, and so I think if we actually had an actual NBA season in 82 games. A lot of these players, you will see them. I think a lot of these teams will probably look different. Like we could probably. I don't know. I think things could be a little bit different if you have just more games to play. Give you more time to mesh. So
Yeah. Yeah. I agree 100%. I cannot wait to see a full NBA season the way it's meant to be played. And I can't wait to see fans back in the arenas.
absolutely, man. So like we're gonna end it off with that. But guys, thank you guys for listening, and Zach, thank you once again for coming on the show, man.
Anytime, dude.
Yeah, appreciate you, dude. Um, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and if you're watching on Apple, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, leave a comment. No, no, leave a rating, guys. No, like help me help you to make the show grow even bigger. And if you're watching, listening on Spotify, make sure you're following the podcast, keep it updates. Um, and with that said, guys, love you guys. Have a great weekend. Peace.